King Richard. I finally got to see it. I have no fancy intro for it. I was tempted to watch it on HBO Max just so I could get out to see it. But then I realized I would have time today to do it, so I'm finally getting out to it. Talking about the real story of, obviously, Richard Williams, the father of Serena and Venus Williams, and how he basically, from birth, raised them to be, tennis superstars, which we know they ultimately became. Now, I will say, first off, this is a really good movie, and I mean, there's definitely Oscar consideration all across the board here. Will Smith this is definitely one of his best performances. Now, I mean, I don't know, I don't follow tennis. I know even prior to this, and even growing up, in the 90s to, I want to say early 2000s, I was aware who Venus and Serena Williams were. But because I didn't follow sports, I don't care about sports that much. And I was never truly into that story at all, their story. But from what my dad, whenever I bring up this movie, he said, "Oh yeah, their dad was a piece of shit." I'm like, okay, I've also was like, yeah, their dad was not a good dad. Was he that bad? If the movie's anything to go by, and Will Smith plays this very well, it's not that he didn't hit them or anything like that. He was certainly a dick. There's a scene where he's willing to just, after one of the big wins, he's going to leave them on the curb of a store to prove a point that he doesn't want them to be bragging, that he wants them to be humble. I'm like, yeah, a little harsh there, Rich. Just a little bit. The dick in your name, that is just for show. Yeah, the guy's a bit of a dick. He was a glory hound. He wanted so much for his daughters, but he also wanted it for him as well. He liked the attention. Yeah, I can see where people could see this guy was a terrible person, a terrible father. I'm just going by what I saw in the movie. If the movie has any basis in truth, he wasn't a terrible human being. He had a very rough upbringing of his own, which jaded his view of the world, and he didn't want that for his kids. So he tried to make sure, as tough as he may have been on them, that they didn't wind up that way. It's just that he overcorrected. There's a difference in life between trying to solve an issue and then overcorrecting and causing a new problem. And what he basically did was he overcorrected and caused more problems. Ultimately, at least in the film, he learned his lesson. At any rate, I saw one review though from Rotten Tomatoes talking about how the story of how Venus Serena Williams is weirdly about Will Smith character. I'm like, I'm sorry, hold. Yes, this is about Venus and Serena Williams. It's actually mostly about Venus. They do. Serena's definitely there, and they even mention the fact that he's raising Venus to be the best in the world, but you're going to be the best of all time. And they even have a little thing at the end saying where most people consider Serena Williams to be the greatest tennis player of all time. And by the way, the two girls they got to play young Venus and basically them in general. But the younger Venus and Serena Williams, they show you footage of them back in the day, earlier in their lives. I'm like, holy shit, did they clone them or something? Because those dead ringers for him. The wife too was pretty close, looked pretty close to the actual wife, and I mean it's Williams as well. But I mean they did a good job making him look like that. But yeah, I'm like. Yes, the film is about Venus and Serena Williams, particularly Venus's rise to stardom, but it's called King Richard. I assume the film is actually going to be focusing a very large chunk, if not predominantly, on Will Smith's character, Richard Williams, because the film's called King Richard. So for the person who commented that, I'm like, I'm sorry, is the name of the title and the title of the film Venus, or the Great Duo or something like that? That would imply them as the true leads. Because really, when you look at the film, it is Robin. I rest in peace. It is Will Smith's movie. but Venus and Serena are just very predominant figures. They are co-leads. They're not even like supporting characters. They're co-leads. So yeah, I kind of reject that as like, for a film about this, like, you do know what the film is actually about, right? They also do a good job at really displaying, like, they're in a rough environment. They're in Compton, and there's gangs. Like, he gets his ass kicked like on a daily basis, and he nearly kills a man in one scene. Richard Williams, like, it's clear this guy came up from a harsh upbringing, so he reacts harshly. There's the scene you see in the trailer where the child services come in along with the police, and he has that line where it's just like, I don't mind you saying we're haunteds because we are, because that's how we're gonna keep them off these streets, but you're never gonna hear about how they got their heads blown off at a gang fight or anything like that. And like, there are some really powerful scenes in this movie, particularly involving Will, Richard, and his wife. Like there's a scene where they finally confront like a lot of shit going on with them, and it's powerful, man. Like I mean, we still got, how much left is in the year now? A month and a week, roughly speaking, month and a week and a half, something like that. This is probably going to be up there for Oscar consideration. This is probably going to be there. It's definitely one of the better films I've seen this year, 100%. There's not much. I mean, the tennis is shot and portrayed really well. I always love seeing. Excuse me, 1 second. Oh. I always love seeing John Bernthal show up, and I like he's got, even though they're in Florida, I think he's got like a Milwaukee accent just a little bit here, or either way, he's. I just love seeing John Bernthal in movies, man. I'm just a big fan of his. I want to say it was ever since The Punisher. I may have seen him in something prior to that. But ever since Punisher, I have been a big fan of his. And he's a great actor. He really is. And he plays, there's enough humor, particularly with some interactions with Will and him, that it really helps, even out the tone of the film. It's well paced. It's well shot. The tennis is well choreographed and staged, and look, and you can tell these girls and everyone's playing. They had to work to play, because they're not on screen just acting playing tennis. No, they're clearly playing tennis. You see them playing tennis. Like in tennis. Look, I'm not an athlete. My girlfriend thinks I am like athletic, and so I have an athletic-esque build, but I am not an athlete by any stretch of the means, at least not in any traditional sense. But I can speak to, well, I'm not really a fan. I'm not a fan of most sports, admittedly, and I'm not a big fan of tennis particularly. Like, there's some sports I can actually kind of watch to some degree. I'm not a big fan of tennis. But you need to be in freaking shape to be doing what they're doing on that field. Like tennis is no joke. Like they say, soccer is the most exhausting sport you can actually be a part of. I would imagine tennis is right up there too. I mean, you have tennis. Football is physically it's pretty major. Rugby is brutal as all hell. I know that. Baseball is actually, I think, one of the more tame in terms of physicality. I mean, yeah, you need to be able to run and hit and throw, but in tennis you need to be able to you need to be able to hit, you need to be able to pitch, you need to be able to run zigzag quick, back and forth in quick succession, and you need to be constantly swinging that arm, whereas in like something like baseball, yeah, pitchers gotta swing the arm, that's why they're a pitcher. You gotta swing the bat, sure, but you're getting a lot of respite between this, especially when you have all the people on the bases. It's just, in tennis, it's just you and your opponent, and you are back and forth for 2 hours straight. So yeah, props to anyone who actually has to do that, even if it's just for a film. That is grueling work. I mean, I can't think of anything negative about the film, really. It's not a perfect film, I don't think, but in terms of like anything negatives I had, can't think of anything off the top of my head. I very much enjoyed this film, and I look forward to seeing at Oscar time if it is able to garner any real consideration. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on King Richard. I truly, really loved it. It was a great film. I mean, if you can't get out to the theaters, because I mean, it's COVID, people are busy, but if you have HBO Max, please watch the film. I do recommend it highly. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll have the Who Would Win in the Atlanticore video up. Then I got a card game. I gotta go. I play cards every Tuesday with my dad. I'll actually also try to have a review up for Red Notice, because I did watch Red Notice on Sunday with my girlfriend and Mark and his girlfriend, and we actually really, I mean, spoilers, we really enjoyed it. It's not perfect. You want to talk about a film I can actually poke flaws at? I can poke flaws at Red Notice, but I had a lot of fun with Red Notice. I'll have really like a quick review for that up later tomorrow, probably after I get out of work, or sometime like later in the afternoon. But like the Who Would Win in the Atlanticore, that'll be up in the morning. And then it's like usual fare throughout the rest of the week. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's the week of Who Would Win. You're getting a Who Would Win every day. But like, you know, the What If will be on Wednesday, Zombie on Thursday, plus reviews coming later in the Thanksgiving week. So you're going to get this week 3 movies coming out: House of Gucci, Encanto, and Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm not seeing all 3 of them. I am seeing Encanto. That's probably going to be the first one I go see, and then I'll see that probably on Wednesday. And then Thanksgiving, I'll do House of Gucci. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you folks later. Have a good one.